back again. Another weekly cooking video for you. Possibly part 1 or 2. We will see how it goes and go from there. Hopefully everybody's surviving, safe, sane, and healthy. As you may know, they're a little bit different looking today. Learning a new skill. Cut my hair last night. Let me tell you, that is not as easy as it sounds. I can't wait for my barber to be back because God knows I'm a little uneven and I need to get straightened out. And I am not going to try the straight razor finish on the back of my neck when I can't see what the hell I'm doing. But, yes, so did that last night and it's passable. It's passable, but yeah, I can't wait for my barber to be back. So, oh, yes, the no glasses. I know, my contacts came in yesterday too, so back to wearing contacts regularly again. It's a nice thing. For anybody that wears contacts on a regular basis, I'm sure you understand. It's nice to not have the restriction of what you can see because you get to the edge of the glasses and all of a sudden all this is just blah. But anyway, on to what you're here for today. I decided to go slightly different direction today as well, just because I want to try and get a variety in here. And when it comes to creating food from ingredients, there's just kind of a magic to that just is so cool because you're taking these random bits and pieces, putting them together into a whole different thing, and making food. So I always thought that was really cool, and that's why I'm liking these from scratch videos for you guys because, if you can't get to the store or just have a bunch of stuff in your, pantry, cabinet, whatever, why not make use of it? If it's just sitting there, let's just use it. Let's get it out of there. So today, in this video, I am going to be making from scratch flour tortillas. The recipe makes 8 shells or 8 tortillas or whatever you want to call them. In this house, they're generally referred to as tortillas. Don't ask why. It's a long story involving a fair amount of alcohol. But it's something that's fun to do, and it's something you can do to maybe change up your eating a little bit. Do something different. Make tortillas one night. Oh, you could use these to make quesadillas if you want. There's so many things you can do. Depending on what I have, I may actually be using these later on today in a second video if I decide. I'm back and forth on this one still, but I may give a shot at making air fryer nachos. So if I decide to go down that road, it'll be on video. You guys will get to see it. It'll be fun. Try to keep it interesting, Got to make it fun. Got to make it interesting. Just enjoy it because having grown up Italian, food is life. Food fixes everything. And honestly, if you don't eat, you can't do a whole lot. I can do a whole lot. So anyway, let's drop the camera down and we'll get started on this recipe. I will at some point put the recipe on the screen. As you can tell, I've been kind of flexing the old editing muscles lately, so I will get the recipe or the ingredients list, whatever you want to call it, on the screen for you guys so you can write it down when you pause the video. I may clip that in between these 2 clips here, so I haven't figured out what I'm doing with it yet. I kind of make it up as I go along, but that's what keeps it fun and exciting and lets me play with new things while I'm expanding my repertoire as far as video editing. So on that note, let's drop down and see what we got. Okay, I considered having everything measured out for you ahead of time and making it all look fancy like one of those cooking shows, but let's just do it all together. So, first thing this recipe calls for is 2 cups of flour. Now, flour is an interesting subject. Super messy if you're not careful, but also there's some restrictions on it. Well, not really restrictions, but you don't want to pack it into the cup. So you just go in. I guess got a big old scoop here. Oops. I knew I forgot to grab something. Fortunately, the drawer's right here. Oops. Get back in there. Okay. So, 2 cups of flour. My first cup here, I'm going to take a knife I don't want to pack it down. I want to gently scrape the excess off the top. If you really want to get crazy, if you've got a flour sifter, feel free. So, 1 cup. I'll go digging in here for my second cup. Some people are going to be like, well, isn't that packing it in? Maybe, possibly, but this is how I learned how to do it, to be totally honest about it. So, I do the best I can. And my food comes out pretty damn decent. So, there we go. 2 cups. Now, again, this particular recipe makes approximately 8 tortillas. If you need more, you can always double your recipe, triple your recipe, quadruple your recipe, whatever you need to get the number that you need. So, we need a half a teaspoon of salt. 1/4 teaspoon, half teaspoon. Now, normally when I'm baking, I use sea salt. But for this one, because I'm baking, I'm using regular salt because it's easier to measure out. Just a touch more here. There we go. Okay, half teaspoon of salt. So, before we do anything else, we're just going to kind of stir these together. I have tried this using a whisk. Honestly, it's a little hit or miss. Once you start adding in the liquid, it gets all gunked up in the whisk spines, strines, whatever the hell they're called that make it a whisk. So I like to use a big metal spoon. I just happen to have one laying around, so, you know. Now, we need 3 tablespoons of olive oil, which I prefer extra virgin, but that's just me. I'm Italian. It's what I cook with. It's what I've got on hand. So 3 tablespoons. There's 1. Yes, the dogs are outside. They want to go out, so there's 2. And yes, I overfilled a little on that last one because if you notice, there's a little bit left in the spoon each time. And because I'm lazy and don't feel like standing here forever going, oh, that's how I do. That's going to go right in the sink. It's going to go right in the sink. And finally, 3/4 cup of water. Let me just double check this. Yep, we're good. Okay. And really, that's the ingredients. Once I'm done mixing, before I switch up to, because you have to, once you mix it and knead it, you want to let it rest for about 10 minutes. So once I get to that point, I'm going to pause and I'll probably go let the dogs in because, you know, everybody likes the dogs. Come live with them. You might change your opinion. No, I'm kidding. Okay, now, as you can see, it's kind of coming together. It's clumpy. If it's super dry, you can add more water. I'm not there yet, but now we're at a point where, actually, I'm going to set that on top of my measuring cup for the moment because I may want it again. You're at a point where you can get your hands involved. Get in there and just knead it. Get it all incorporated together into a nice big ball of dough. And this is part of the fun of cooking. It's just getting into it with getting your hands into it. Yes, I wash my hands ahead of time. I always recommend washing your hands because guess what? In the end, it's going into your mouth. And think about that for a minute, folks. I'm also going to take the opportunity while I'm kneading the dough here. If you're going out and about, especially with what's going on right now, I get it if you're wearing a mask, if you want to wear gloves, that's entirely up to you. But here's the thing. If you're going to wear those things, carry a small bag in your car, be it a paper bag, be it a plastic shopping bag that's, you have left over, pre-banned shopping bag. It's like pre-banned magazine for a firearm. If you have a pre-banned shopping bag, keep it in your car, and when you come out of the store, dispose of your personal protective equipment properly. None of these people that are essential employees at the stores want to come out and pick up your crap. Now, real quick, before I switch over here, I'm going to bring out my good cutting board because it's a nice flat surface, unlike my countertop. I'm going to put a little bit of flour on it. It keeps the dough from sticking to the board. Now, get this over here. We're going to really get some work done into this. You want to really get it, make sure it's fully incorporated, fully mixed together. Knead the hell out of it. You're frustrated at your significant other, your kids, I'd say your boss, but if you're watching this, chances are you're not working, or you're working from home, so you're less frustrated necessarily with work. But even if you are, this is a great way to get those frustrations out. Just, mother effer, son of a biscuit, what the snot do you think you're doing? See, you can work out a lot of stuff like that. Okay, I have it kneaded. Just because I'm Italian, I feel the need to make it into a ball. Okay, I'll be back in 10 minutes. We'll let this rest, and we'll go from there. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. We let the dough rest. During those 10 minutes, I did do a couple things. I got the heat going on my pan. I put a plate out over there for the finished tortillas. Did a little cleanup. So, first thing we're going to do, and I also floured my board and my rolling pin. I'm going to do it simply, divide this into 8 pieces. So there's 4, and 8 roughly equal pieces. I'm not being super measuring with the calipers type accurate here. I admit that, but as long as they're roughly. Okay. I just find it's easier if you want to tear them apart and do it. That's fine. There's no real rules when it comes to how you want to do it. Throw a little more flour down here and flour on my hands. I just like to make them I get them into a ball shape. Then I just kind of squish them, because this gives me a start before I hit them with the rolling pin. Honestly, this is not something I've been taught or learned as far as, making them that. It's just something I've worked out myself over time doing this. I'm not going to try and make it sound like it's something super fancy or amazing. I just kind of do a little that way, a little that way. You just keep working them out. You want to try and keep them generally round-ish. Obviously, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is not Taco Bell, and if you ever look, some of theirs are not perfect, and they're made by machines. So I just press down and roll. And probably if I had more space, this would be easier. You know what? Those little things you never think of when you do it normally, that you think of when you're doing it on a video. Go figure. There. Now, let's spread my flour out. Now I got space. Most recipes say you want to get them rolled out to like a 7 or 8 inch size tortilla. Personally, I just go until I think they feel right. I don't know how to explain that better. And like I said, you kind of want to generally keep them in a semi-round shape, but there's no penalty for making them different. These are your tortillas. You make them how you like them. I do tend probably to roll mine out a little thinner than most do. If any of my watchers are of an ethnicity that has grown up making these from scratch at home, I apologize if I have made a travesty of this. It was not intentional, but there we go. Now, depending on the recipe you follow, I have seen some that say to put a little oil in the pan before you cook them. Personally, I toss them in straight. A little more flour while that's going. And it says medium heat. Honestly, on my stove it says low, 1 through 9, high. So I have mine currently on about 5.5, and I'm keeping an eye on it. You want to, I don't want to say toast them because that doesn't really give you the right connotation there, but you want to just lightly brown your tortillas. Get out of there. Obviously the dogs are in now too. You may have seen them already. Okay, so that one's just a little too out there for me, so I'm trying to shuffle the dough around a little bit to make it more round. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect. The nice thing is there's so many different things you can do with these, from wraps to soft tacos to burritos. I mean, you get small burritos, don't get me wrong, I get it. You can drop them in the deep fryer, make tortilla chips with them, a little sea salt on them afterwards. Let me see where this is at. There we go. So, I mean, it's a super versatile type of thing. Obviously, this one is not, this one's not entirely round as much as I've tried to work it. But, and don't be afraid to play with these as you're rolling them out. I mean, you'll notice as you work them that you can get things to do certain things certain ways. It's all about applying pressure and the resultant changes in the material, which sounds like science, and it kind of is. Anybody tells you there's no science in cooking doesn't know what they're talking about. There's lots of science in cooking. Okay. Now, shit. I think you guys can see this. I forgot to check my framing before I started backing up. Now, you'll notice this is getting a little stiff now. You're starting to see a little browning on the bottom. I like to flip mine regularly. And again, this is me. You'll find your own ways of doing things until you get those nice brown bubbles in it. We're coming along slowly. So while I'm waiting on that, I got one more ready to roll here. Well, I'm just going to see it. Nah, screw it. It's going to stay like that. Okay, we got a nice bubble popping up here. That's part of what I was waiting for. I just tore it. Yay. Get in there. You want to like lightly brown it. You'll feel the consistency change to get more leathery, for lack of a better term. You'll see the air bubbles start to pop up, and we're almost there. Lots of flour. This is a little messy to make, but let me tell you, in the long run, totally worth it. See, now you start to see the brown spots on the bottom. It's starting to actually look like a tortilla shell. A little steam out there. I don't like to leave the big bubbles full like that, just because in the long run I don't want to have a bunch of big bubbles in my tortilla shells. I just generally flatten them down with a spatula, and bam. We are almost there. Now, on the far side, I have a plate that I'm going to put them on. Again, I don't know if that's in a frame or not. I'm going to walk around and check the frame. Through all the dogs. Okay, yes, you can see the plate. You can currently see the whole shebang, which is good. So, I have watched people put them on paper towels. I will not put them on paper towels because the plate they're really not going to stick to. Paper towels they might stick to if there's a little bit of moisture left in them, and that just becomes messy. Perfect. And again, it's a feel thing. You're going to feel it and it's going to feel right. It may take you a couple tries to get it to where it feels right, but you know what? That's part of the learning experience. It's part of what keeps it fun and exciting. Now, I kind of cut my hands and roll it around in my hands to get that ball shape, and then just kind of squish and work it between my thumb and fingers. I'm sure somebody's going to find something dirty in that, but you know what? That's okay, because we're all having a good time here. We're having some fun. We're making some food. There we go. And yes, you're gonna be with me through most of it. I may clip some of this out, and honestly, I think I may just kind of make the rest of this a little montage for you, just so you can watch me do it, but not have to listen to me go on, and I don't have to come up with stuff to say for the rest of it. So, montage on. Okay, end of montage. Now, I've got the last two here, and I want you guys to hear something. It kind of sounds leathery in the pan. That's when you know you're getting towards the end of being done, because it's got the brown spots on it. Sounds a little like leathery. I know that's the best way to describe that sound. Roll around in the pan, and yeah, and it's done. Here we go, last one going in. So, the biggest issue with doing these is cleaning up afterwards, because there is flour freaking everywhere. Everywhere. Trust me, it's everywhere. Now, what I usually do for my cleanup, while this is cooking, I'll cover that. Obviously, my tools go in the sink so they can be washed, which I'm doing as I talk. The other issue is the flour that's everywhere. Now, one quick thing, this is a wooden rolling pin. It's a cheap wooden rolling pin. It is what it is. It's something I happen to have on hand and haven't felt the need to replace yet. Do not just drop this in the water if you have one. It will be bad for it. However, for the countertop, what I will do, I will actually bring my vacuum in and vacuum the countertop, because it's so much less messy than trying to clean it up with a paper towel or a sponge or anything with liquid. There we are. Oh yeah. So once this one's done, obviously we're going to clip there. I'm going to get my vacuum out, vacuum up my counter. And I'm not putting the whole thing up here. I'm just using the tube and vacuuming. I do have some common sense. Now, once that's done, then yes, I will take my damp cloth or some spray and a paper towel and actually properly clean the countertop the way I do every time. You will see me occasionally set things on directly on the countertop. This, despite its age, gets the snot leached out of it every time I use it, before and after. So that's why I'm comfortable putting things on my countertop, because I do clean the you-know-what out of it. Bleach spray is all I use on this, and eventually I'd like to replace this with something a little more smooth and significantly less porous than grout tends to be. Haven't decided exactly what yet. And there we are. There's that leathery sound that we like. So there we are. I'm going to turn that off. Okay, I'm going to take a few minutes and clean up, then I'll be right back to finish up. And there we go. Made your own flour tortillas at home. What you do with them? The possibilities are endless. They really are. Yes, I'm drinking milk. The Cool Dad likes milk, and no, I don't get paid to say it. This is not sponsored. It's just me. If, however, you happen to know somebody at the Food Channel that's looking for a new cooking show, feel free to hit me up. I would not say no to that, I'll be honest. Now, I want to touch on real quick the fact that, drinking the milk actually brings me to that point. We need to thank our farmers because, without them, we'd be kind of up the creek without a paddle. Some of y'all might be like, well, I just go to the store to buy my food. Where do you think that food comes from? Whether it's meat, whether it's veggies, milk, cheese, it all comes from farms. I see a lot of people attacking farmers lately. Oh, inhumane this, that. You know what? If you don't like meat, don't eat it. If you don't like cheese, don't eat it. If you don't like eggs, don't eat them. Let people be. Having grown up in a farming community, on a farm, working on a farm as a kid, and still having a lot of friends in the farming industry, I see what actually goes on. And honestly, the saying's true, no farms, no food. Either way you want to spell no. And I really think we need to really take a long, hard look at how we approach the concept of how we deal with farms. Hi. Merlin says farming is good. Take a break. Take a break. I love you. Yes, you're a good boy. Now, if we don't have farms to feed us, we're going to starve. It's that simple. There's no Soylent Green. There really isn't. If you actually catch the movie reference, you get 5 extra bonus points today. But now I'm going to sit here and consider what I'm going to do with my tortilla shells. I may make a second video today. We'll see. But for now, I want to say have a great week. Stay safe and healthy. And remember, you have the potential to do amazing things. Especially right now with everything that's going on, you've got time to investigate that potential. Time to look at what changes you need to make in your life in order to have that amazing potential be recognized. You can do it. I have faith in you. I do. So let's do this together. Let's have some fun. Let's be amazing. Let's just make this world a better place all the way around. Have a great week, everybody. I'll catch you all later.